Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Luhan, and I will be the old school guy. I work at Brno University of Technology as a lecturer. So my field is more to educate, the work with data, and in the field of e-commerce and in the field of business intelligence and other things. And then there will be my two colleagues, Martin and Jan, who are actually also my friends, which we usually spend quite a lot of time in discussion and even sometimes in arguing, with a different background from the electronical engineering through the travel management and other things and IT sectors. So we are usually trying to somehow figure out what's the proper solution for some problems. And I have quite a not nice slide with too much information in it. But mostly it's all about the work with data, how we work with it. We have plenty of data all around us. We usually work with them, we use them. And at the sphere of business and even manufacturing and other things, it's all about to get the proper data, to process it to some reasonable results. And from my perspective as a lecturer, it's sometimes hard to find the proper meaning for the results. And so we have already heard quite a lot of information about the data source, about where we can get them and how we can get them. Then there is the plenty of time where the data are stored, even clouds, and even if it's on which continent and other things, so about the data repository. And then there is quite a nice field of data analysis, which is actually the field of my colleague, who are analysts in a different sectors, maybe. So how to work with them? But the key is the person, the someone who can ask the proper question, who need some concrete results. And then it's mostly about the deployment or implementing of the proper solution, proper technologies on the base of the true data. But what I also want to mention is the different perspective, because I'm from the Faculty of Business and Management, especially management. And it's usually we are trying to educate or evolve the proper manager with the complete, or not complete, but complex view. And it's not only about the data and about the technology, but there are quite close connection, close connected, the other fields, like the security and how it will be, especially in the digital world. There is the needs for sometimes the change in processes and other things. And everything put it together must reach the proper goal. And there is quite a lot of question marks. It's not the complete lists. There are plenty of tools, plenty of methods, and also there are other perspectives. For example, legal perspectives, for example, multinational or e-world as itself. So it's usually about putting everything together to have the more brighter or wider view of the things. And if we are just asking questions, we can go from both direction, from the manager perspectives, so what I want and to where I can what I can achieve, with what are my resources, where are the limitations, because there are quite a lot of data. For example, on social media there is plenty of data, but there is also sometimes the restricted access. There is something that's not actually sometimes cost effective to have all the data that I need. So it's usually about some finding the balance between what I can afford in the data, and I can also go from the bottom to the up. So what kind of data? What are the crucial data for the solving the problem, and what are the data that are just something beneficial? And I put it there, some old phrase from Albert Einstein about determining the proper question. And sometimes, as I work with students, it's the main problem to find the proper questions for the proper situation, to be able to solve the real problem in the real basics. And the last part from me, it's about how can we educate the proper manager or better manager for the digital age. And it's somehow brief few buzzwords that could be implemented or that could be taught in some reasonable way. And how it is, it's mostly about the idea of cooperation, to find the good partners, to make some or get some nice case studies, to have the proper real problems, and sometimes to learn from history in some cases. And I would really like to invite you for the open discussion later on, so we can share the views, the points, and sometimes even some afraid of a different part, because it's not always easy, but it's inevitable. So there's no escape from this part. And now I will give my microphone to my colleague Martin, who works as analyst, data analyst.
So, hi guys. I'm from Brno University of Technology. I'm doing my PhD research there. And I'm here also on behalf of Alza.cz, where I'm data science lead. You may never heard of the company, but in a Czech and Slovak market, it's like a digital e-commerce retail giant. So, what have I prepared for you? Why don't we use data? Actually, I think that we can all agree that data are quite important. Harvard Business Review recognized data science as the sexiest job of 21st century, so there's no doubt about that. On this slide, you can see some barriers for data adoption listed by self-reported survey by McKinsey Global Institute. If you can't read all of them, it's okay. I will summarize. There are two most important ones, and it's inability of companies to secure, let's say, proper organizational structure to support data analytics. That's the most reported one. And there's also a second one, and it's lack of top management involvement. And if you look at these barriers, let's say from innovation economics perspective, you will find out that these barriers are general and not related only to adoption of data analytics and machine learning and artificial intelligence. You can say that organizations are barriers to themselves in a sense, because they are trying to, let's say, bend the technology around the processes, but I think that it should be other way around. You may, let's say, to get full potential of the innovation, it's good to think about bending processes around innovation. It's like when you have a gas-full car and you want electrical one and you try to change windshield, so it doesn't make sense sometimes. So, but you have to start somewhere. I prepared these 3 cornerstones to, let's say, start with data analytics. The first one is you have to find an area where you can leverage impact of the analytics. It's usually somewhere where you waste money, because wasted money is a good opportunity to improve. It's good to start somewhere where you can automate and collect right data. As I mentioned before, I worked for e-commerce retailer, and for us, it's quite simple to find a sweet spot in these 3 corners. It's like demand forecast, inventory management planning, pricing optimization, or radical personalization through recommendation engines. Yeah, you can imagine, you can adopt it in some other fields as well. So I want to share a brief use case of mine. It's not in our sweet spot, but it's quite similar, I think. It's part of my research project. We are dealing with customer churn prediction. Why would anyone want to do that? It's because acquiring new customer, it's usually 6 to 20 times more expensive than retaining a current one. So that's why you want to predict if customer churns. For us, it's like 17 million a year in churn profit. Yes, and I programmed a solution which has interpretable insights to customer lifecycle. It's interpretable, which is, let's say, kind of different when compared to current trends in AI and machine learning. And the performance is comparable to ensembles or artificial neural networks. And during 1 month, I was able to automate the whole solution. There was no need for big data. I only use transactional data with some qualitative parts. And it took me like a month to do this whole thing, but the main barrier are within the organization, because the adoption, it's much harder to redesign the process and to leverage the automation you are able to get with data analytics. So that's my key point. And that's all. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for having us.
Okay, so my name is Jan Budik. I'm from Brno University of Technology as well, and I finished cybernetics engineering studies in cybernetic field of study, and after that I switched to economy studies, so I finished my PhD studies on the University of Business. So I think that I can put together the cybernetics or technique field of study with the economy, and I like it. Okay, so I think that I will be very short and straight, and I hope that we can talk on the open space after this presentation. So why use data analysis to in environmental financial markets? It helps me do fast process the data. For example, I work with historical prices as open, high, low, close volumes. And you can use social media data sets as well, like a sentiment analysis. I use fundamental data as well as market cap, dividends, and you can use more than 1,000 metrics for doing decisions. I'm doing this analysis as well for risk management optimization. So, for example, for optimization of weight in your portfolio, or if you are trading with futures, you can optimize your position size. And I'm working with risk management. And I confirm my investments ideas, and I would like to show you a few steps of my workflow for creating strategies. By the way, I work for investment group in Prague, in Czech Republic, and I'm creating trading algorithms for them. And I can show you a few hours before I sold crude oil, and on the open space I can show you this trade and my decision and risk management and all of this trade. Okay, so at the first time you need to have investment idea, and it's you got a few portfolio theories, but I think that much better is to have expert knowledge as brainstorming with a few clever guys. I have a team of the young people, clever people, and we are creating some ideas. If you have idea, you can or you need to choose right data analysis tool. There is no so big marketplace on the world, but most known are multi-charts, NinjaTrader, Sierra charts. But at this time, the best, and I think it's best for me, and I work in this tool. It's a Zipline. Actually, it's a tool called Quantopian. After that, you need to get datasets relevant, and after that you need to do some tests with this analysis tool, and these tests are called backtest, which you test your idea on the historical data, and you can do some optimization and walk-forward analysis, Monte Carlo analysis. You can use genetic algorithm as well, because each strategy can have 1,000 or millions combinations. So sometimes it's good to use some advanced tools. And there is a example of ID, and this example I would like to show you on the open space. On the left side, you can see the environment where you can create your strategy. I teach students on my university how to create their own analysis, and after 10 lessons they can create strategy in this IDE in Python. On the right side, I will show you on the open space, it's a strategy for trading with futures gold, and the green line is a strategy. It's a performance of the strategy, and the gray line is buy and hold strategy. So I will show you how to improve buy and hold strategy. And it's quite simple to use other analysis, or use, for example, maximum drawdown analysis, when you can check the performance or other features of your strategy. So that's all. Thank you.